I'm Effie, and this is What Effie Reads. This video is going to be my second weekly reading vlog. If you've watched my previous weekly vlog or even seen any of my recent posts over on Instagram, you'll know that my currently reading pile has got kinda out of control, and also I'm going to be back to work very soon. So my plan for this week is to try and get through as many of the books on my currently reading list as possible. So I guess we'll see how I get on. Despite the fact that I have a mad currently reading list at the moment, I'm also trying to pick up little books just to get that sense of accomplishment, because it's really, really hard going, like knowing that I'm not finishing any books and still have a lot of books that I need to finish. So today I picked up 5 on Brexit Island, which is kind of a parody, spoofy kind of book. It was released in 2016, so I can't remember how long Brexit took, but it was released after we knew the results of Brexit, and it's, playing on Enid Blyton's The Fantastic Five. It was enjoyable enough. There were a number of laugh out loud moments, but I never read The Fantastic Five when I was younger. My dad wasn't a big fan of Enid Blyton. He thought her writing wasn't very good. So I read Mallory Towers, like the full series, and that was about the extent of my exposure to Enid Blyton. So I don't know how many elements of this book are riffing off the original material, but there's some things that were a little bit odd. Like, there's pictures throughout the book like that, and the text underneath doesn't fully relate to the picture. You could possibly squint a little and it might just about be relevant, but the pictures and the text don't quite match up. And then these pictures with the text are placed seemingly at random points throughout the book. So they are quotes from the text, but they might be pages and pages before or after, which seemed like an odd stylistic choice. But again, I haven't read the Fantastic Five books, so I don't know if that's something that they did. I also was a bit, maybe not disappointed, but it wasn't what I expected. The fact that this book focused on the aftermath of Brexit and George wanting Kirin Island to become independent from Britain because of the Brexit result, which was a very amusing plot device, but it wasn't what I expected this book to be about. And now I think I am going to read a bit of Opposite of Always and see how I get on. I made a little bit of progress in Opposite of Always yesterday. maybe 50 pages, but that's probably pushing it to say I got that much read. And then I read a good chunk of Cirque du Freak, which is the first book in the Vampire Blood trilogy, which are the first 3 books in the Saga of Darren Shan. I'm still really enjoying it, and I have lots of thoughts about how enjoyable it is, and the way that the boys are portrayed feels so non-toxic. It's really quite refreshing. So I've got maybe 50 pages left in that book, and then obviously I've got the other 2 books. But I'm counting the Vampire Blood trilogy as 3 books because it is essentially a compendium, bind up, whatever you want to call it, of the first 3 books in the saga. But my plan for today is to try and read Bridge of Souls. I want it finished in one day, and that will be a separate vlog, so just be aware that if there's not much footage today, that's why. But before I do that, I got a parcel from Waterstones today. Now this is a parcel that I ordered these books myself. No one's treating me to random Waterstones parcels. So I thought I'd show you what I got. But this is how it turned up. Yeah, you can see the first book there. But it's completely open at the side, so I hope it's got all the books it's meant to have in. Yes, it is meant to have 3 books in, so hopefully all 3 are here. So we've got Mad, Bad and Dangerous to Know, which I picked up because I saw the... Oh, it's so floppy! I saw the American cover illustrator post the artwork for that, and I thought, oh, that sounds like an interesting book. And then I saw what the UK cover looked like, and it is ridiculously gorgeous. I won't read the full blurb, but I will read just the starting bit. 2 young Muslim women, 2 centuries, 2 continents, 1 common purpose: to write their own stories, which sounds amazing and definitely the kind of diverse children's literature I like to read. So I'm very excited to read that one. Right, what else have I got in here? Oh, yeah, it does have all 3. Phew! Okay, I have Romesa. I think I'll probably have to find an audiobook to work out how to pronounce that one correctly. But it's meant to be twists on fairy tales, or possibly just a twist on Rapunzel. It says, Rumesa, Rumesa, let down your hijab, which seems like a fun little concept. And I picked up the signed edition because why not? And oh, it looks like it's going to be really quick and easy to read. It's big text, lots of artwork. Oh, and it's a compendium of fairy tales, all told with a slightly different perspective, I guess. I will let you know when I read that. And then the third one, which inspired by Jade's live show last Friday. And I think I mentioned in the last weekly vlog, but I picked up Way of the Argosy, which will be my first Sebastian de Castell book. And it's not even technically out yet. I think it comes out... Oh, that's pretty. That's what it looks like. naked, and it's got nothing on the front, but it's gorgeous. Yeah, so it'll be my first foray into his world, but the author reckons you can read it first, so that's what I'm going to try to read. And then I'm not sure which books I'll move on to next. Because I've got such a long TBR for this month, I would like to read some of these books this month, but I'm not optimistic. However, I think I am likely to Read Way of the Argosy next month if I don't get onto it this month, because there is a readathon. I believe it's called Netathon, but I will pop it on screen if that's not correct, which is made up of a bingo board, and the prompts, like to tick off each bingo prompt, you have to read a book inspired by a booktuber. So this would be a good book for the Jade Square. So there's that. Today's been kind of a weird day for reading, but also I want to say I've had a pretty good reading day. I achieved the two major things that I wanted to achieve. I finished Cirque du Freak, which is the first book in the saga of Darren Shan, and I also managed to read the whole of Bridge of Souls. Aside from those two, I've made some progress in Opposite of Always, which feels like it's taking me ages, but then I realised it's like 450 pages, so it isn't going to be a one and done kind of book. I'm also making progress on Nemesis and the Swan, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I enjoy historical fiction a lot more than I realise, and it's definitely keeping me intrigued. I would like to continue reading, but I also want to do the editing for my Bridge of Souls vlog and hopefully get it up tonight. I mean, it's after 10 p.m, so even if it was already edited, it's unlikely that it would be uploaded before the clock strikes midnight, so I'm going to try and aim to have it up for about midday tomorrow. But I guess at the point you're watching this, you'll know. So I'm pretty happy with how today's gone, and I'm hoping I can have another good reading day tomorrow. The plan is actually to stay up all night, like Wednesday into Thursday. So I'm going to have quite a lot of reading time. I don't have any specific reading goals for tomorrow, but I'd like to finish Opposite of Always. If I can finish Nemesis and the Swan as well, that'd be pretty good, but I'm less concerned about ebooks because I can read them in bed, so I can chip away at them constantly, whereas a physical book, obviously, I can't read in bed, so I'm a little bit more limited. I feel like I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go and do my editing, and I'll see you tomorrow. Since I'm back at work tomorrow, my plan for today is to try and finish Opposite of Always. I've also got 5 hours roughly left of an audiobook, which means that I can potter around, do some housework, make sure my flat's in the best state it can be, so that I'm not worrying, whilst also probably being pretty exhausted after going back to 30 hours a week. I'm not sure how I'll get on because I do still have maybe half of Opposite of Always left, but I'm also going to try and stay up as late as possible to try and flip my sleep pattern back. I'm almost to the end of Opposite of Always. I'm just having to take a bit of a break because this book hasn't been as sad as I expected it to be. And then out of the blue, something happened that has just absolutely destroyed me. I think I've still got a tear dripping down my face. And I'm just like, let time reset, please don't let this be the end of things. It's horrifically sad, and I'm just hoping that that Jack can make it right. I don't know, nothing can make this right. I'm not expecting this book to have a happy ending, but I'm hoping that it's happier than it is right now. I don't know, I can't explain without spoiling the book, and this is a book that I would never want to spoil for anyone. I love Justin A. Reynolds' writing, and I thoroughly recommend his books. This book isn't quite as good as Forever Ends on Friday, but it's still really, really, really good. Apologies for the kind of bedhead that I've got going on. I just wanted to give a wee update. So yesterday I managed to finish Afropene and Opposite of Always. So that's 2 books off my currently reading list. I managed to stay up until about 7 this morning to push my sleeping pattern back into what it needs to be for work. I didn't get as much reading as I would have liked to get done between like midnight and 7. I read a little bit more of Lost in the Netherwoods, and I started Rainbow Milk by Paul Mendez. I know it seems really weird to keep adding stuff to my currently reading, but I'm subscribed to 3 book subscription boxes. So I split the month into like 4 weeks, and then obviously I've got a few extra days at the end. So the first week is dedicated to reading my Fairy Loot book. The second week is dedicated to reading one of my physical books that I haven't read yet. So anything on my bookcase that I haven't gotten to. The third week is dedicated to reading my Queer Book Box book, of which I have only read 2 out of the 6 I've received, so I'm not doing great. And then the 4th week is dedicated to reading my Illumicrate. So although it is adding a book to my currently reading, it's a book that was already on my TBR for this month. So far, I'm really enjoying it, but it's written in dialect, which means it's a little bit slower to read. But I'm really intrigued by it. I'm about 30 pages in, and I would like to get to the 100-page mark by the end of today. I'm not sure if I'll manage that because I need to have a shower and kind of get my life in order before work tonight. So what I'm probably going to do is pop on an audiobook. I'm thinking maybe Sadie, and then potter around the house until I have to go out for work. I may or may not check in later tonight. My first night back at work went better than I expected, to be honest. It was hard going and I was in pain by the end, but I think a lot of my nerves about returning was just kind of stuff I'd built up in my head. I'm still a little bit sore now that I've had a sleep. I did mean to update this morning, but I kind of came home and crashed. Yeah, so I'm a bit sore now, but not too bad. And since I've got a good few hours before I have to head out, my plan is to read some more of Rainbow Milk, which I'm really, really enjoying. It's switched away from dialect for the moment, so I'm not sure if it's going to switch back at another point or if it's into more standard English now for the rest of the book. But it's so, so good. And I'm really glad to have received it in a queer book box, because it probably wouldn't have been on my radar otherwise. I made TikTok pasta tonight and the little bits I've had taste amazing, so I'm very much looking forward to eating this. That's me home after my second shift back at work. I'm a fair bit of pain, but I know that it will get better. Just need to get used to going to work again. I've now got a little snack breakfast type thing, and I'm going to watch some Taskmaster and then maybe read some more Rainbow Milk, which I'm still really, really enjoying and thoroughly recommend. Apologies if this week's vlog hasn't really been quality content. I'm still trying to get into the groove of being back at work. I think I'm doing okay reading wise. I'd have to look at the specific stats, but I am getting some reading done each day. I'm almost at the halfway point of Rainbow Milk, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I honestly don't know how to describe it, and I kind of don't want to read the blurb because it's nice to be just sucked in the action, but it's got such an authentic feel, and it's not shying away from anything. And I'm intrigued to see where the story goes, especially because the characters you're introduced at the start, you haven't been reintroduced to yet. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they tie in to the central protagonist that you followed for the last 100 or so pages. So I'm hoping that I can do a couple hours of reading that before I go to work. But I am up later than I would have liked today, so I've got less time to read. I think I probably need to put myself on a bit of a book buying ban, because I keep seeing hardbacks for reasonable prices and picking them up. I have 3 hardbacks next to me. Like, these are all obviously ones that I've bought myself, so they're not exactly surprises, but I will show you. So I picked up this one in Asda the other day because it's quite a chunky hardback and it was only a £5. It sounded really intriguing. The blurb's super, super long, but it sounds like a thriller meets Unreal, which sounds really cool. Alright, this next book I saw Jade speak about in one of her recent videos, and I have an arc of the sequel, the companion novel, which comes out in a month or two, so I had to pick up this book, and it's A Song Below Water. It sounds amazing, and again, it wasn't terribly expensive, so I figured I'd pick it up, and then I've got a copy. Fairly simple. And the final book is a book I got in the Illumicrate past item sale. and it is Harrow the Ninth. I haven't read Gideon the Ninth, but it's very sprayed. But it's kind of one of those books that I've been intrigued and excited for picking up. Ooh, the tipping page is really cool. And Under the Naked. So I don't know what to expect, but I have had my eye on Gideon and Harrow for a while, so now I just need to pick up the other book. Ideally, I would like to pick up the Illumicrate version of Gideon the Ninth, but I find that those books are often quite expensive to get secondhand. That's my third shift at work, back after furlough completed. I'm feeling quite sore and tired, but still not as bad as I expected. I don't know. It is hard going, and it's hard after being off for so long to get back into it, but I'm getting there. Since it's Sunday morning, I've got a long wait for the bus, so I'm going to read some of Rainbow Milk. It's quite a nice, mild morning, so I don't mind sitting waiting. And hopefully I'll get plenty of reading done. So this week's felt like a real mixed bag, considering I was back at work. So I've read a lot less than I have for the past 4 months, but I've still managed to finish 5 books this week, and I'm less than 100 pages away from finishing Rainbow Milk, which I'm still really, really enjoying. I'm up to kind of what feels like the last part. It feels like a coda or an epilogue, even though I am still a chunk away from the end, because it's kind of flashed forward maybe about 15 years, and you're kind of catching up with these characters now. I still don't know how the gentleman that you're introduced to in the first portion of the book relates to the protagonist for the majority of the book, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how the two stories link up. So, a summary of what I have finished this week. I read 5 on Brexit Island, which was a kind of parody, satirical, Fantastic Five, but also the Brexit vote. It was okay. It wasn't what I expected, and not being overly familiar with Blyton's work, I don't know if some of the quirks were things that were present in Blyton or not, but it's a book that's been sitting on my TBR that I've now read, so yay. I read Bridge of Souls in a single day. I do have a vlog dedicated to reading that one, and I had some opinions. Overall, I did enjoy it, but I have one specific issue with it, and it's an issue that I expected to have going into it, to be honest. I then finished Opposite of Always, which again I enjoyed. It wasn't quite what I'd anticipated going in, but it did manage to make me cry a little bit. I think it was just a difficult book to read after having read Forever Ends on Friday, because that had such an impact on me and was so well written. So to then read what I think was Reynolds' debut, it didn't compare. But that's not to say it was a bad book. I still thoroughly enjoyed it. It just wasn't quite as good. I also completed 2 audiobooks. So I listened to Afropeen, which was really interesting. However, because I had such a short window of time to read it prior to it expiring from my library, I had to listen to it at a really, really quick speed. So I've reserved it again and plan on listening to it when it becomes available again. And I also finished Sadie, which blew my breath away. Is that an expression? It's a really, really good audiobook. I know everyone says it's a good audiobook. It's a full cast, and you're following Sadie, but also following an investigator trying to find out what happened to Sadie. And it paces really well. And then the ending is satisfactorily unsatisfying. And that's my reading week.